We are following these critically important developments on Capitol Hill. The final vote just happening 26 hours into a marathon Senate session for the president's massive budget bill. It happened all last night through this morning. We saw what's called a vote-a-rama, 48 amendments to the bill, the most in history. But nothing significantly altered the core provisions of this bill, which would extend the president's tax cuts while making deep cuts to Medicaid and food stamps to pay for them, plus adding trillions to the national debt. Republicans could only afford to lose 3 votes. Vice President J.D. Vance came in earlier today to serve as the tie-breaking vote if needed. Joining us now, NBC's Melanie Zanona, who is on Capitol Hill. Monica Elba is in Washington for us, covering the White House. Tim Miller is an MSNBC political analyst and host of the Bulwark podcast. Melanie, this was always going to be a nail-biter. What's the latest?
Yeah, they're in the process of this final vote. They have not officially gavelled it yet. You can see it there on your screens. But every indication is that this bill is going to pass. Now, there were already some 3 critical no votes. That's Rand Paul of Kentucky. We already knew he was going to be no. Tom Tillis of North Carolina, who announced his retirement over the weekend. And Susan Collins of Maine. She was one we were watching very closely. She had not officially said how she was going to land on this bill. She had a lot of concerns about the cuts to Medicaid, how this would impact rural hospitals, the cuts to food stamps, and she just told our Ryan Nobles off the floor, my difficulties with the bill go far beyond what they could resolve. But the one vote that we were watching and that was able to get this over the finish line, it looks like, was Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. She was given a number of carve-outs in this bill. There was also a final deal, a final substitute amendment. That's what they were working on late into the night, early this morning, to try to win over her vote. That includes a softening of the phase-out of the clean energy tax credits. It also removed an excise tax on the solar and wind energy products. Prior to that, there was also some additional carve-outs for her home state of Alaska for some of these cuts to SNAP. Some of those were ruled out of order, but ultimately, Murkowski got to yes. So this is a big critical win in the Senate, a huge feat for the GOP leadership. Now it heads to the House, and there are problems brewing in the House because there were a lot of changes made to this bill from the House product. There are steeper cuts to Medicaid than what the House initially passed, so there are a number of moderates who have expressed concern over that. There are also fiscal conservatives who don't like that the Senate product cuts less spending than what they were promised. I was just talking to Chip Roy. He's a member of the House Freedom Caucus. He said currently he is a no on this bill. He wants to see what the final Senate product is going to be, but he does not sound keen to vote for this product as is, and he is warning that they might not be able to make the July 4th deadline. However, what I will say, the Senate being able to pass this is going to create a huge boost of momentum to get this through the House. The president wants something on his desk for this symbolic July 4th bill signing. There's going to be a lot of lobbying. There's going to be a lot of work cut out for the House GOP leadership. I suspect Trump might get more heavily involved in these closing days here. He is often known as the closer here on Capitol Hill. So no doubt, there's still some work to go, but getting it through the Senate, a big feat, a big deal, and this puts us on a real track to passage and to finally getting onto President Trump's desk.
All right. Thanks, Melanie. And we'll come back to you a little bit more about what we expect to see in the House. But, Tim, this was a pivotal moment. It was a pivotal moment for President Trump, who absolutely positively threw all of his weight behind this. It was a pivotal moment for Congress, certainly for the Senate, for John Thune, to show that they could deliver for the president. And in a very different sense, a pivotal moment for tens of millions of Americans who rely on the programs that now will get significantly cut in this bill. What do you make of what we just saw unfold on the Senate floor?
Well, look, it's very reminiscent of what happened during Trump's first term with Obamacare. But instead of John McCain giving the thumbs down and not providing the vote that would have been needed to repeal Obamacare, Lisa Murkowski gives the thumbs up, and they pass this on a less than party line vote with just Republicans, 50 Republicans, and J.D. Vance breaking the tie. And they needed Lisa Murkowski, who is, maybe the one or two most moderate members of the conference. It's hard to see. it's hard to kind of wrap your head around like how Murkowski could support the broad effort elements of the bill. Additional funding for ICE, huge increases to the deficit, tax cuts that are going to disproportionately help people at the top end of the income scale. Not too many of those in Alaska. And so, what it ends up doing is she does it, I think, because Alaska gets some of these carve outs, kind of old school swamp style politics, if you will, and kind of relationships with the Senate Republican leadership. So to me, I think that's the most striking thing that happened. Like, this thing was on the cusp of being defeated, but one of the supposed so-called moderates in the Senate cast a deciding vote. We saw the same thing in the House, where a lot of the frontline Republicans voted for it. I think there's going to be real political damage for those House Republicans. Murkowski's protected; she's not up for a bit, but I think those House Republicans are going to suffer political consequences from this.